Thanks for joining us. And today we're going to talk about Kriya Yoga and the wandering mind. So it is common in meditation for folks often to have a wandering mind while they're doing it. And we certainly see this in meditation practices like following the breath. Anapanasati is what is used in Buddhism for that. And other types of meditation paths will use different kinds of meditation objects. And often what happens, the common experience, is people's minds at some point start to wander within their meditation. And certainly Kriya Yoga is no exception to that. So Kriya Yoga, as we know, is a very powerful kind of technique to help to bring you into an internalized state, what is called pratyahara in yoga. And normally in Kriya Yoga, the trajectory is to begin to experience signs of the sense withdrawal, what we call pratyahara, which is the tingling throughout the body. And then we start to be drawn into a deeper meditative state, such that the internalization intensifies and the body sense starts to disappear. It may also affect our breathing, so we start to breathe in a more shallow way as we transition to something called the tranquil breath in Kriya Yoga, where the breath starts to shallow out and then basically disappear. And then the sense of the body, as we know it, disappears from one's awareness, and one can feel drawn into this internalized void, what is called dharana in Kriya Yoga. And dharana and the pratyahara and successive states are part of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So the transition from meditation into deeper and deeper states of absorption. And so in Kriya Yoga, we will sometimes talk about Paravastha. And Paravastha is the after effect poised state of Kriya. And what this means is we start to feel in our body, in our mind, the effects of doing the Kriya pranayama, which is, the form of intentional breathing that is the primary part or the foundation building block of Kriya, right? This intentional breathing. And Kriya pranayama is very ingenious because it leverages the body's parasympathetic nervous system to bring us into a low idle state. So this slow, long, intentional breath starts to have this physiological effect on the body, calming our mind and body and bringing us inside. We experience pratyahara. And then we start to be drawn into the state of dharana, into this internalized concentration, where our sense of awareness basically disappeared and we're left in this internalized state. So when we're doing Kriya Yoga, we can definitely feel this effect of the Paravastha. But sometimes what will happen when we're doing Kriya Yoga is, regardless of what we're doing, if we're sitting in Paravastha or we're engaging in the Kriya Pranayama or in associated practices, we may find our mind wandering. And so what to do when our mind is wandering? Well, one of the best practices for sure in Kriya Yoga is doing the Kriya Pranayama effectively such that it engages the body's parasympathetic nervous system to bring us into a low idle state. So what happens from doing Kriya Pranayama correctly is that the heart rate starts to slow down and the breath rate starts to slow down and they become in resonance with each other and then we get into this internalized state. So not all Kriya Yoga schools use Kriya Pranayama in the same way. Some of them have these different kinds of modifications that were made, and they may not be as effective as the original Kriya Yoga. And so I teach in the Panchanan Bhattacharya lineage, which is considered the original Kriya. Panchananji was Lahiri Baba, the originator of Kriya Yoga, his preeminent disciple. And so the Kriya Yoga that we practice is all of the 7 initiations, or the 7 chapters, that were taught by Lahiri Baba to Panchananji and passed on and so on. And many Kriya Yoga schools don't have all of those. And they may have tinkered in particular with Kriya Pranayama and stripped out elements of it to make it not as effective as the original. So if you're doing Kriya Yoga in the original way as taught by Lahiri Baba, you're going to get that freeze response coming on, the pratyahara coming on very quickly, which is really great because what happens is you start to feel these feelings in your body, mind, and they become very absorbing, hence you going into absorption, dhyan, right? So we want the best practices of the Kriya Pranayama to induce the pratyahara, right? So if we're doing it correctly, that is one thing to stop our mind from wandering because we're really involved in these feelings that are coming up in our bodies and minds, right? That are very, absorbing. And so, but it can happen, regardless of doing that our mind starts to wander. So in Kriya Yoga, you may be having background thoughts in your mind, wispy thoughts, which as you go deeper into dharana and deeper into dhyan will disappear. But If you're not getting there because maybe you're new to Kriya Yoga or you're doing the Kriya Pranayama in a way that's not inducing those feelings very quickly, you may be drawn into a thought stream, right? So that the object of your meditation, instead of being aware of this sort of bodily bliss, etc., coming up from Paravastha, that you become very involved in a mental stream and you get pulled away from the object of your meditation. And that's what I'm talking about in those cases. So the most effective means to return back into your object of meditation is really to recognize that you are totally off your meditation object, off the bodily sensations of the Paravastha. And from there, what you do is just to let go of that thought. And when you're letting go of that thought, you're not fighting with it, trying to suppress it or push it away. You are acknowledging it, you're recognizing it, and you're just letting it go. And then what you can do is do a little smile that helps to bring you back present into your bodily and mind experience pre-distraction and continue to engage in your particular meditation practice. So if it's being aware of the body in the Paravastha state as you transition into deeper and deeper states of absorption. If you are doing Kriya Pranayama, the same thing goes. You get distracted and you're thinking about all these things, you're not paying attention to doing your Kriya, you get pulled off, recognize the thought, let it go, smile, and return back to what you're doing. And this process is going to happen naturally. So folks are going to get these distractions. And when people try to suppress all of those things by pushing them away, they're just delaying them from coming up. But if you're able to engage them in a very brief way by recognizing, by letting go, by smiling and returning back to the object of your meditation, you will find yourself able to transition away from those distractions very quickly. And it will bring on deeper and deeper states of absorption because you're fine-tuning your meditation process, right? And you're also recognizing the aspects in you that tend to hold you back in meditation, allowing them to come up and letting them go. And this process in itself is a way of purifying internally your consciousness, your mind, your emotions, and so on, through a natural mechanism, rather than trying to suppress things artificially. You're allowing those feelings, those thoughts, and so on to resolve, returning back to your meditation and being absorbed in your particular meditative state, meditative techniques, or insights, and so on. So that's a very effective, practical way to deal with the wandering mind in Kriya Yoga and in meditation in general. So if you have any questions about this video, feel free to send me an email at info@modernkriya.com. Also check our website at modernkriya.com and our YouTube channel. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.